The Wrightstown Community School District Board of Education believes that extracurricular activities are an extension of the classroom and an essential part of the curriculum. Our goal is to develop well rounded young men and women in keeping with the district's mission of a quality education for every student. These activities are open to all students and will occur in a safe and encouraging environment where all participants can learn and grow. Although co-curricular activities are a valuable part of the total educational experience, participation in these activities is a privilege, not a right. Student participation in co-curricular activities carries with it a certain responsibilities and expectations that promote growth towards becoming a responsible member of society. We expect students to abide by all rules and responsibilities of the co-curricular code of conduct at all times in order to continue participating. This code is divided into two groups of sports and activities in which students may be involved. The penalties for violation of school district policies and rules vary depending upon whether the student is in a Group 1 or Group 2 activity. Group 1 activities refer to all WIA high school sports, high school dance, and middle school sports listed. Students may not participate in more than one school-sponsored sport during the same season per school district policy. Group 2 activities refer to co-curricular activities not mentioned in Group 1, which are competitive or representative of Wrightstown Community School District in a more public venue. A student must have passed all classes in the most recently completed quarter in order to be eligible. Incomplete classes shall count as Fs until complete. In addition, high school students must have obtained a minimum of 1.67 GPA in the most recently completed quarter. A student enrolled in a state-approved special education program who doesn't receive grades must be making satisfactory progress on his or her individual education plan. Students may have up to 2 weeks to make up incomplete coursework. Once completed, provided the student is now meeting academic eligibility standards, he or she will immediately become eligible. A student must demonstrate passing work in all classes and a 1.67 GPA after the first 15 scheduled school days and nights into the next quarter. If after the 15-day period a student is still receiving a failing grade or a GPA less than 1.67, their grades may be rechecked after an additional 5 school days. Grades may be checked up to 3 times following the initial 15-day period. If a student is not passing after the third grade check, they will be ineligible for the remainder of the quarter. For fall sports, the ineligibility period will be the lesser of 21 calendar days, beginning with the date of the earliest allowed competition in the sport, or 1/3 of the maximum number of contests allowed in a sport. Ineligible student cannot participate in any program's contest events during the period of ineligibility. However, they may practice, rehearse, meet at the discretion of the coach and advisor and activities director. A student must be academically eligible to participate before they may start serving a code violation. While in suspension, the student may practice and attend competitions, but not compete and may not wear the team uniform. Middle school students can regain eligibility after the first 10 scheduled school days and nights into the next quarter. If after the 10-day period a student is still receiving a failing grade or GPA less than 1.67, their grades may be rechecked after additional 3 school days. For fall sports, the ineligibility period will be the lesser of 14 calendar days, beginning with the date of the earliest allowed competition in the sport, or 1/3 of the maximum number of contests allowed in a sport. Unless an absence has been prearranged, a student must be in school for the entire day to participate in any practice, rehearsal, or contest event. A student who is excused by a parent, guardian for any part of the school day for being sick or ill will be ineligible to participate in the practice, rehearsal, and or contest event for each activity that day. The student will become eligible on the next day. Students with an unexcused absence on any part of the school day or whole day will be ineligible to participate in the next event for each activity in which the student is involved. All students will travel to out-of-town activities using district-provided transportation and are expected to return using district-provided transportation. Students may be released to their parents following a contest at the coach's discretion. These parents will be required to sign out prior to taking their son or daughter with them. Students may be released to an approved pertaining parent other than their own if the student travel permission form was completed and turned into a coach prior to leaving the game site. Each student will be responsible for the return of the original equipment issued. Students will not be allowed to participate in another activity until he or she has either returned or paid for all lost, misplaced, or stolen issued equipment. Any student who is injured during a practice or contest should report the injury to the coach, advisor, and athletic trainer. Should an injury be discovered after the student athlete has returned home, the advisor coach should be contacted as soon as possible. Wrightstown Community School District does not provide insurance coverage for any injury accident related to athletics and will assume no liability. This includes any emergency vehicles or medical costs that could occur as a result. Effective communication with parents is an extremely important part of having a successful school athletic and activity programs. Coaches' advisors will hand out program expectations at the beginning of the season, activity to detail team rules, schedules, letter criteria if applicable, contact information, and conflict resolution guidelines. Students who violate the Co-Curricular Code of Conduct will be suspended from all Group 1 and Group 2 activities that they are currently involved in at the time of suspension. Students in Group 1 activities who break the Code of Conduct outside their season will begin a penalty from the first day of their next sports season. Students in Group 2 activities will serve the penalties beginning on the day they are suspended. For Group 1 activities, the length of the disciplinary period shall be determined from the mathematical equivalent of 1/4 or 1/2 of the number of contests to include the first WIA playoff contest for high school, rounded to the next whole number. The ending date of the disciplinary period shall be the conclusion of the prescribed number of contests and/or period of time as determined above. If the suspension is not completed when the season ends, the remainder of the suspension will be served during the next season in which the student participates. A student with suspension penalties must begin and end their respective seasons maintaining team member status in order for the suspension to be completed. Students who violate the Co-Curricular Code of Conduct will be ineligible for any special awards during the season of participation or any season in which the suspension is served. No student with code violation may be nominated for any special in-season, end-of-season recognition. This shall include MVP, MIP, all-conference, all-area, and all-state. Penalties will be cumulative over a student's middle school and high school career. A student may, however, be returned to the first violation status upon being free of all penalties for a period of 2 school calendar years. For example, a student violating the code for the first time at the start of his or her freshman year would start with a clean slate at the start of his or her junior year, provided he or she has no further violations prior to his or her junior year. You are strongly encouraged to read the entire Co-Curricular Code of Conduct before signing. Please contact Mr. Craig Hayes, the High School Activities Director, by email or phone if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you for watching and listening to this presentation. Go Tigers!